What's up, everybody? Welcome to Glitch Please, your weekly gaming news podcast. This week, brought to you by Skillshare, but we'll get to that later. I'm your host, Ben Ernst, and with me I have...
I'm Nick.
Oh, I'm John.
How's everybody doing? What's going on?
Just wonderful.
Good to hear.
Wonderful. The year's good. We're in it. It's 2019. I don't know. I'm doing fine.
Doing a lot of gaming. I see your aesthetic is quintessential 90s kid.
I haven't aged since 1999, so that's what I'm sticking with, and you can deal with it.
All right. Well, we got a ton of news actually this week to talk about, and I really want to dive into it. But first,
what video games came out in 1999?
Top of the news. Top of the news this week.
What did come out in 1999?
Everything.
Who could guess a 1999 game, you think?
Super Smash Brothers, Nintendo 64.
Oh, fuck you. Of course, Smash came out that year.
Nick Smash Ultimate Kramer. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's me.
And John, Gotta Catch 'Em All Risinger?
Yeah, what Pokemon came out in 1999?
Gold and Silver were almost out.
Probably. God, man, I have no idea of dates.
How old you feel? I actually wouldn't even guess
No,
that.
it's not even age. It's that I don't recall anything out of the year it happened. Like, I have no, like Gavin's someone who can do that. Be like, oh yeah, we went to that event in 2005. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I did last year. So how am I going to know what happened in 1999? I was 15.
It just feels like gaming has moved so fast. It's only like, what, 30, 40 years old?
What was I playing when I was 15? 15, I was sophomore. I was probably playing, was that still N64?
Probably.
GameCube.
Yeah, GameCube came out 2001.
God damn it, stop with the dates.
I'm just feeling older and older as we go along with this conversation. Give me your hat. I need somebody to feel young.
I'm older than you. I'm mid-30s with 2 children, so shut up.
Well, first off, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of stuff. Been mixing around a lot of things. I finally played God of War.
Oh, good.
Oh, all the way through?
No, I'm like 8 hours in.
How you feeling about it so far?
It's beautiful. It's
So
beautiful.
good.
It's got a great story. Every time I get excited and happy about the game, it hits me with a sad scene, and I hate it, but I love it. And like, sad dad looks at you with those eyes of wife just died and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Sad stuff's happening. But like, then it's gorgeous, and you see a giant tree on top of a turtle, and some witch lady comes out of it. It's all good.
I want you to recap every game big hit that we have this year. We've got Sad Dad, Death Moms,
Sad
Turtle
Dad
Trees.
and all that. I'm playing Siege. Oh shit! I'm playing Siege now.
On PC, console?
PC.
Okay.
PC.
That's
fuck
where you play it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
If I can't even play first-person shooters very well on PC. I ain't gonna go to console, bro.
It's really weird if you swap to console playing Siege. Just the controls are.
Done that.
It's weird.
Done that with Overwatch. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm just like, this is all my range of looking. I never look up. Don't ever look up. Siege is fun. I'm late to the game, but it's super fun.
It's on sale for like $12.
Yeah,
As of this morning, I saw.
It's got like 6 tiers of purchasing. Of of different things, ways you can get all the way up to like, normally it's $90 for like the gold package where you get all the operators and any future ones. It's like the God pack for Smite.
And they just like released 2 operators, I believe, right?
Semi-recently, yeah.
Semi-recently?
And so, but over Christmas, it was like $15 for that version. So I was like, I'm getting that version. And so I got that, and I've been playing it. It's very frustrating to start a new game like that because like there's a million maps and operators, and you have to learn them all very quickly. But I was playing with Alfredo, who's very good about teaching, and he's got a group of people on his Twitch that I get to play with as well that have been really nice and like very backpack carrying me through stuff, but I'm starting to like actually contribute and averaging high amount of kills each round and winning a lot of things. Not doing ranked, all casual.
Oh yeah,
and I'm enjoying it.
It's definitely one of those games for me that I can only play with friends. I can never jump in by myself.
No,
I just get immediately like murked by someone within 5 seconds of the first match.
Yes.
You gotta wait 10 minutes for the match to finish and roll into the next one.
Yeah, I think that's probably why it's staying fun, is that I have played it exclusively with filled out groups. I have never played it with randos yet. And so I play with a mix of like really good to semi-good people, so no one's really like bottoming out or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm probably usually the worst. But it's really fun. It's very Overwatchy because there's a million different people with like abilities and stuff like that. Less superhero than Overwatch, where like an
more
ape
gadgets
turns into a Hulk.
Yeah.
It's more like, I put down traps. I'm the trap guy, or like, I'm the doctor. I'll heal you. That kind of thing.
Who's your like go-to op?
I like Doc.
I always love medics in games like that because I like having that secondary objective besides just killing people.
Gives you a feeling of contribution even if you don't get
Yeah,
kills.
exactly.
Rook's another good one because it's like, I put down the armor, and you all pick up the armor, and I did something.
You literally don't have to pay attention to anything else. You're just like, armor's here, you're good, now I can focus on
the rest
else.
of the game you need to contribute as well, but at least like at the go, you immediately contribute to everyone. And so, but I'm trying to force myself to learn all of them. I've been playing with Jackal and Legion and Frost and Glaz and all them. I'm trying to learn them all, very Pokemon style. But yeah, playing Siege. I kind of want to pick up Raft again. Did you guys ever play Raft?
No, what is Raft?
You ever play Raft? Early
never heard of
access
this.
sandbox game like Waterworld, where you start off in this little like 4x4 raft, and all you have is a hook that you throw into the water, and you pull back debris.
That you build stuff with?
And then that's materials for you to build. And so you expand your raft, but then there's this mechanic that there's this shark that's constantly basically circling around you on an interval. About every 5 minutes, he attacks your raft, and you have to kind of get him to go away. And if you don't, he'll destroy a part of your raft.
Oh, that's cool.
You can go into the water to get stuff, but the shark's there, so you kind of have to keep him in mind. And so you like advance your raft up and build new things. You also have to worry about drinking and eating and your health. And yeah, it's right up the alley if you like Minecrafty and sandbox games. It's a very cute little cartoony aesthetic, but I played it when it first came out, like early or mid last year. And so it's one of those games that since it's early access, I was rewatching Funhouse's playthrough of it, and I was like, I bet you they've updated a bunch, because those ones like Ark. If you go back and play Ark, it's 100% different now.
This looks like Waterworld meets Mortal Engines.
It is, because if you watch Funhouse, you can attest to the absurdity you can do of building. Like, they created a raft that was just like eons wide. It was just like they made this plank that went out forever. Mine, when I first played through, my raft eventually was just like, it was like 8x8, but it was like 5 stories tall. So it was like physically impossible to like actually exist in the real world. But once I got to it, like, because there's islands, when I got to islands, just went to the top of my little thing and just jumped onto the island. It was nice.
I was about to ask, like, I saw they had sails on there. I was going to ask
sails,
if you can
there's
move
wind,
around,
there's a
if it's
current.
just like...
There's a current that's always moving you, even if you don't have a sail.
Okay.
And then once you get a sail, you can direct yourself. There's even little paddles you can get.
It looks like it's multiplayer. Is that like open world?
It's open world. It's multiplayer.
Oh,
but everyone's like contributing to the same raft. It's not versus or anything like that. And so it's a super fun, chill game. If you like those, like, just zone out, throw on some nice music or like a movie on your second monitor and just reel in some planks. That's all I want to do.
That was Sea of Thieves for me.
Yes.
It was
Sea of
really
Thieves has
fun
much
for
more
that.
of a combat element
Oh,
to it.
yeah. It's not as chill as Raft, you said it was called?
Just Raft. It's called Raft. Yeah, early access game. It was, I'm sure it's like $15. But I kind of wanted to pick that up and play again. Or pick it up, re-download it and play it again.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves definitely has a little bit more of like a griefing element to it.
Yeah, you
And
can
they kind of
definitely run into
advertise
that.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves is one of those games that I own, I've never played. I bought it when it came out. I never installed it.
I played it when it first came out, and it wasn't a big fan because it was just full of bugs and there wasn't a lot to do. But from what I understand, they've fleshed it out.
Bugs, but yeah, it's really come into its own. It's kind of had a little bit, at least if Twitch numbers or anything to go by, it's had something of kind of like a resurgence.
Yeah, I think it was that early people's response to it. Like, basically everyone was saying, like, there's nothing to do.
It's just
wasn't what people
it's
thought.
samey.
And there's nothing to do. And I was like, cool, I'm not going to install this. I'll play it later. But then later on, I was like, I just don't care.
Yeah, they've added a lot, and I know they came out. It has 7.8 thousand viewers, right? Or yeah, 7,800 viewers on Twitch right now.
And it's the morning, so I've seen that number get as high up as like 20 to 30 something thousands in like the last couple of days.
A lot of people still play it.
Yeah, I tuned into it to some streamer yesterday, and they had jumped into the water, and there was some like statue with some kind of like blood diamond, it seemed, in the center, and you had to shoot it until it exploded to get some kind of loot or something. I don't quite know what it was.
I haven't played that update.
Yeah, it seems cool. I mean, it seems like they're adding enough to that game that I kind of want to jump in now. And I thought I saw some kind of news update that this year they're going to have another like big content drop on the game.
Yeah, like the Megalodon that happened a while back, that kind of thing.
I think it'd be worth checking into.
There's a funny element to these games, considering I love Raft and I even love a game like Subnautica, but I have a like gripping fear of open water and sharks.
Oh yeah.
And enough that when I play these games, it really is like an anxiety issue. Subnautica was pretty rough until I got used to the game and it was a lot easier. But this one, something about the shark is just frightening as fuck for some reason.
The same way about just the ocean in general.
Yeah.
Is it for you? Is it because of just like damn nature you scary, or is it because For me, it was just playing Banjo-Kazooie as a kid, and in the first beach level, that shark.
Snacker.
Fear of the ocean forever.
Yeah.
Well, this one is Subnautica has this to a level 2, and I think Sea of Thieves has it too, where they programmed into the game, the lower you go, the darker it gets in the water.
Nope.
And that just closes in on me alone in my house, and I'm like, no, I need to go air. I need air. Like, it's really bad. But you with Raft, you have to go underwater to get certain elements. Like on the islands, they have like actual like sand and metal and stuff on the ground that you have to get. So you have to wage what you can do. You can make shark bait and
distract
it for a
That's
little
cool.
while.
That's a cool mechanic.
But then it eats through it and still come get you and everything like that. So it's really I'm tense the entire time, but I like it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that one. I feel like I'd be looking around. Okay, gather this. Oh, hey, what? Oh, my raft's gone. Oh no, where'd the shark go?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the raft, because
Mm-hmm.
the current, unless you have you can have anchors and stuff like that. Until you get anchors, the raft will always move. And so if you go out into the water, you have to get back to your raft.
Can you outswim the current?
You can. Until you have a sail, and then if the sail catches, it can outdo you. And so there's been a couple times it's just my raft is gone. I'm just like,
I live on this island now. Cool.
Or I'm in the open water, and this is me now.
This sounds like my nightmare. Absolutely not.
It's a balance of that and really chill, just working on your raft and growing plants on your raft and upgrading your water purifier and that kind of thing. It's a good game. It's a good game. What are you guys playing? I've talked for forever.
Yeah, what are you playing?
I have exciting news. I've played something that isn't Smash Brothers.
Oh,
this
yeah.
past week.
2019, new Nick.
New year, new me.
What other Mario game is it?
Shut up, John.
Actually, the plot twist is it's Pokemon Go.
No.
Actually, I have been playing quite a bit of Pokemon Go lately.
Got a good Hone event going on right now. Get your Kyogres and Groudons.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm so out of Pokemon, I don't even know what those words were.
Those are the two legendaries
From Gen 3.
Gen 3. The big old blue Shamu looking
It looks like an inflatable whale.
And then Red Godzilla.
I probably played that back in 1990s.
19. That was 2000s. 2000s.
Let's be
Sure.
real.
What are you playing?
I got Super Mario Party.
It's a Mario game.
I love it.
Listen,
Nick, never change.
I see you. I see you.
that's not the only game I've played.
Super Mario's Deluxe.
No, not really. I played the original Mario U back in the Wii U days.
Yeah.
Just borrowed it from work, got my fill of it. Still don't really care to go back to it.
Yeah, if you've played it, I don't know why you would pick it up again.
Want to check out Toadette? With that
No.
crown?
That's not enough to make me replay a game.
The other game I played was Uncharted Lost Legacy. Ooh. I've got a buddy, John, from Dallas, where he and I have played through Uncharted 1 through 4 together. More like, for those games, I watched him play, because I'd already played them. He'd always wanted to. So I got to kind of vicariously, through him, experience those for the first time again, and it was great. And then I got Lost Legacy for full price a year and a half ago, and I loaded up for the first time this weekend. Because
Where is Lost Legacy? I have never played a single Uncharted game, so where is Lost Legacy in the succession of the Uncharted games? Is it the most
it takes place
recent?
after 4. Yes,
Yeah.
it's
So
the
it's
most recent.
It's it's not a DLC, but it's like a small.
Yeah, it was originally going to be DLC, I think. Or if it wasn't, then that was at least my understanding of it. But it's a standalone download game.
It's not full price. It's I think when it originally came out, it was $40.
I think so, and that's what I paid for it. And then when I played it this weekend, it was on sale earlier that week for like $10.
Yep.
So I might as well have just waited for that. Anyway, but I was waiting for John to have some free time, or for both of us to have some free time, for him to make the trip down here to Austin so that we could just beast it out in one sitting, like we did for all the other games.
How long is it? Or how long did
Shorter than Uncharted 2, 3, and 4. It's
I would suspect.
including the prologue and the epilogue, I think it's about 11 chapters, where even the first Uncharted game was like 20, and each one was like a little bit longer in terms of chapter number. But it was really good. If you like Uncharted 4, you'll like this. There's no Nathan Drake. It's just about you play as Chloe, and the main hook for me was the chemistry between Chloe and Nadine. They kind of have this really uneasy alliance at the beginning that, after some turmoil and some hard times, by the end of the game, they're like besties, and it's a really satisfying arc to watch.
So if it's Uncharted without Nathan Drake and you're being a girl, you're playing Tomb Raider.
No.
No response.
Isn't Uncharted essentially just Guy Tomb Raider?
Well, it's not so much that it's Guy Tomb Raider, it's that it's like really cinematic Tomb Raider with like a lot of Indiana Jones.
Okay.
And from what I remember,
A lot of it, like big set pieces.
How is Tomb Raider
cool
not like
cutscenes.
Indiana Jones?
The new Tomb Raider became a lot like that, but this is more. The Uncharted games are always more cinematic in that way, where you have like the big set pieces, and it's not about fighting a T-Rex. It's about running off of this thing while it's collapsing. That happens a lot in Nathan Drake's life.
Okay.
But this one's got the grappling hook from 4, that makes every game better. It's got the stealth elements, which was one of the best things that Uncharted ever added. So if you liked Uncharted 4 and you want more of Uncharted 4, I cannot recommend Lost Legacy enough.
Yeah, from what I remember of Lost Legacy, I only played like half of it when it first came out, but there was a lot of really cool dynamics between the two characters, like talking back and forth as you were climbing things, and the banter just like had added a little bit of polish that made it really, really good.
Yeah, it's as far as gameplay goes, it's a lot of just kind of the same. Like I mentioned the grappling hook and the stealth, but you do have at one point this really huge, large, open sort of area where you can kind of do your objectives in the order you please. It takes forever, but that was pretty fun. As far as I can remember, because it's been a year and a half since I even looked at Uncharted 4, but as far as I can tell, the big gameplay thing they added was lock picking, which, yeah, I know, it's real revolutionary, but
advanced mechanics.
Yeah.
I actually like the way it was implemented because there were some scenes where, like no spoilers, but there's, or no major spoilers, I know, but there's like a helicopter in one scene that's looking for you, and there's a bunch of like really heavily armored dudes on the ground. But there's these red crates that you can lockpick, and if you manage to do that without being detected, which is really stressful, well, because you know they're looking for you the whole time, if you manage to do that, you're rewarded with like some really powerful gear that can really help with all that. So the risk-reward element of all that I thought was actually kind of interesting.
Cool.
All
That's
right.
what I've been playing.
That's it?
Basically. Super Mario Party with the wife is fun. We've both decided we really like playing against the
That's a good party game. I played that with some
duo
of my
mode
family.
is what we've been playing. Like I haven't even done
Just
the
the rafting thing? Or
No, not even the raft. Just the 2v2 mode where you roll the dice together, it combines them, and then plus whatever your buddies roll, and then you have to move exactly that amount of spaces. So you have to try to figure out the best path to land exactly where you want.
Oh, huh.
So
I've completely missed that mode.
Oh yeah, you should play it.
Okay.
It's, if you got a friend or
2 Joy-Cons.
yeah,
Just playing by yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're kind of in that awkward stage of 2019 where a lot of games haven't released yet. We're like 2 weeks away from Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil 0, so I've been trying to get through
Resident
my
Evil
backlog. Resident Evil 2. I've been playing Resident Evil 0 because I wanted to beat 0 and 1 leading up to 2 just to kind of remember it. Oh boy, the controls on that game and the level design of the game is a little rough. There's a lot of like a needless backtracking. It has a lot of what was fun with Resident Evil 0, or with Resident Evil in general, but 0 added the mechanic of just a second partner that you had to control with both the thumbsticks, and so every now and then, like if you have the ability to hit the back button to link both of the players up, and like they'll follow each other and shoot zombies for you. But if you even accidentally hit that back button, there's like a brief mumble of like, don't, just stay right here. And so you'll accidentally walk through a door and leave someone in a room full of zombies, and then your radio goes berserk.
I'm okay. I'm good. I'll pass on that.
what's the button?
It's just the back button. It's like, like instead of, or what would be select, I guess.
I've never played through an entire Resident Evil game. This entire franchise I missed.
I have never played 0. I've played 1 and like 4 onwards, but I never played the like fixed camera controls perspective outside of
The old
1
school stuff.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back and try them just because 2 looks really cool, and I know people are really, really excited. Some data miners dove into Resident Evil 2 and saw that there might be a mode after you beat the game where it has that fixed camera perspective that you can replay the game through again. 0 though came out on, what was it? Steam, the GameCube, I want to say PlayStation.
Probably did.
Yeah, at some point, I'm sure. And like it's been remastered on the Xbox One. That was fun. Was playing through it on the Xbox One. You start in a train full of zombies. You meet your companion Billy, who's this like escaped convict with a rough past, and you give him a gun because that's a great idea. And you get to a point where you pull the brakes on the train. It's just the very beginning part of the game. Apparently, there's a glitch on the Xbox One where it will completely crash your OS entirely.
That's fun.
No.
And then
good
you have
glitch.
to
It's a good
completely
glitch.
restart the game. So we got like 3 hours in, and then you're like, okay, cool, I guess.
Crash the game, or you crash the OS?
The OS of the Xbox.
So the
crashes.
whole Xbox resets?
Entirely, yes. It was just super weird. I uninstalled the game. I tried to do a complete reboot and see if there were any updates. Something's messed up.
What triggers it? You just do that part of the game.
You get to the cutscene where you pull the brakes on the train, you go, it pans out and you see the train start to go off the rails, and then it starts stuttering and you get that of the Xbox.
So there's no way to avoid it.
There's no way to avoid it whatsoever.
How
I
did
tried
it make
skipping
it
the
past
cutscene.
certification?
I don't know. So I restarted on Steam, started playing through it, finally beat the last boss last night. I don't think I'll ever play that game again. It is,
If you're preparing for 2, why'd you play 0?
it goes chronologically 0, 1, 2. 0 and 1.
So you're gonna play 1?
Yes, I'm gonna
Okay.
play 0 and 1.
That's what I was trying to figure
both of
out.
them.
I know maths.
I got 2 weeks. 1 apparently does not take a long time to play. It's been forever since I played it, probably back in the 90s.
I played half of 4 with Andy Blanchard.
4 is good. 4 is really, really good.
But by play it, I've been just watching him play.
And then
Helped.
Yeah.
Gave moral
It's
support.
fun. It's actually very fun to watch him play Resident Evil 4.
that game is very, very good. That might be one of my favorite Resident Evil games.
It's a pretty absurd game.
Yeah, it's crazy. The other game I've been playing is kind of started off of something you tweeted out a while ago. You did 52 movies last year in 2018.
I did way more than 52.
But you had a list of all the movies you saw.
Yeah.
You tried to see a movie from 2018 in every week, I think, of 2018. I want to do that with games.
Oh, jeez.
I know.
No.
That sounds insane.
No.
It sounds insane. I've started it though. I've beaten Resident Evil 0 now, The Messenger, and I kind of beat Messenger over break, so I don't think I can count that one. But I started Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
That game is incredible.
It is fun.
I'm lucky if I finish 4
You're not
games
praising
in a
it
year.
high enough, Ben.
Stop. He could say it's fun. He could say it's fun.
It's no Smash Ultimate or Mario Party.
There you go.
or anything. No, it's. I really, really like hard as nails platforming games, which Donkey Kong falls under. At least this one does, though I know the last few games they've kind of ramped up the difficulty. I really like it. I've been enjoying the boss fights. The music has been amazing.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
listen to just how you go through some of the levels, you can tell enemies are bobbing their up and down to the beat of each of the levels, which is cool. Really interesting boss fights. There's just some clumsy platforming that I really don't like, where if I jump in just the right way, or if I'm trying to drop down to a platform, I'll turn or twist at just the wrong time and fall to my death. I don't know if this is just a consequence of, did you ever play it on the Switch or play it on the Wii U?
No, I played it on Wii U, but very extensively. So I remember reviewing that game back when it first came out, and then I bought it for myself to play through the entire thing again. I don't remember having problems with controls like that. I do remember being I feel like all of the companions besides Dixie are kind of useless.
Yep.
Why not just pick Dixie?
Did the Wii U version have Cranky Kong as a
Yes,
partner?
it did.
Okay.
They added Funky in a funky
In the
new mode.
Yeah,
for
it's supposed to be
Switch.
the easy mode, right, of the game.
Yeah. I don't know how Funky plays at all because I haven't played it on Switch.
Yeah, the platforming's awesome. The minecart levels have all been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
The rocket ship levels have all been really fun. It's just the minute trying to jump precisely to a platform that's been messing with me.
Are you playing with stick or D-pad?
I'm playing with the sticks on the Joy-Con, which I think might have something to do with it.
Maybe. I used D-pad the entire time I played on Wii U
It just
back in
feels
the day.
really weird playing with the D-pad on the Switch. But it's a great mobile game. It's
I can
a lot of fun.
understand that.
Yeah, if you like platforming games and you want something mobile on the Switch, I recommend picking it up. Just be prepared for some higher difficulty and maybe swapping over to Funky Kong if you start having issues.
Yeah, it is a challenging game, but it is one of the best platformers I've ever played.
It reminds me of, in a different way, a bit of Rayman Legends.
Yeah, and
when
that's
that came out.
another one of the best I've ever played in my life.
Yeah, it was really, Rayman Legends is an amazing platformer.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about this that is it's almost there, but not quite for me.
Yeah, when I reviewed Rayman Legends too, and I remember giving Rayman a 10 out of 10, and then this one, solely because I had just played Rayman Legends, a 9.5.
Okay.
Because I felt like Rayman perfectly nailed everything it accomplished to do. This one felt like there was a couple of really, really small things that kept it from being completely perfect. But I gotta say, I love how every level in Donkey Kong is its own unique idea.
Yeah.
They don't recycle too much of anything, or if they do, they find ways to make it feel fresh.
Each of the worlds usually has a minecart level and a rocket level, but each one is different in great ways. The first one is jungle, and then I think you move on to the beach level is one of the ones I just finished, and I moved on to World 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 6 or 7 worlds.
I can't remember, but I think it's 7.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The thing I like about platformers is just the ability to keep going.
Yeah.
But then there are some levels where I just kind of hit a brick wall, and I feel like that stops all my momentum. And I think that's the issue I have with the game.
How much of a completionist are you in these?
With things like Donkey Kong, not too crazy. Like I haven't been trying to get all of the Kong letters. There's two kind of collectibles. There's you can collect K, O, and G throughout the levels, and those have been kind
Classic.
of cool. Those are usually more like platforming challenges, and then there's the puzzle pieces, which is more like hidden throughout the
Yeah.
world. So it's either like find this area where you can collect all these bananas and you'll get the puzzle piece, or defeat these enemies, or throw this at a wall that's slightly cracked and you can find it. If I ever have the desire to go back and play the game again, I'll probably go through and try to collect all those pieces. But other than that, it's been pretty fun.
I'm the kind of guy who will do my best to find everything the first time I go through a level. And if I missed something and I knew I did, I will like die or whatever it takes to start over from the beginning of the level and do it on my first pass. So that was pretty aggravating at times because there's some really tricky jumps in that. But it's one of those things where it always feels like it is your fault, at least for me. Maybe you feel differently, but it always felt like it was my fault when I died.
I feel like
it sounds like you're having some control issues, so you may not fully agree with.
I feel like you're just telling me to get good.
That's not. Sure, Ben. It's not what I was going for at all.
I feel like you're just telling me to get good, and something that could probably help.
I'll
me
do
get
it.
good-
I'll tell you. Get good.
Do it?
I'll
Yeah?
say it. Get good.
Well, something I think that could help me get good is something like Skillshare.
Segue.
Oh.
This episode of Glitch
10 out of
Please
10.
is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, and more. I've actually really enjoyed their Photoshop classes. It's been great for if I need to do something minute. I do a lot of editing, so when I want to figure out how to pull something out of a photo or just add to it or make it look like not as rough, Skillshare has been great. There's a lot that you can dive into and learn, whether it's just you're a beginner or you want to learn something a little bit more advanced. If you want to brush up on certain skills you may have forgotten, great for that as well. They have a wide variety of classes, so there's something for everyone, from crafting your own personal brand to learning about how to better manage your finances. Skillshare has a class for just about everything. Skillshare is also super affordable. Premium membership is just less than $10 a month and gives you your unlimited access. You can join the classes and communities that are just right for you and your New Year goals. Whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving in 2019. Join more than 7 million creators learning with Skillshare. The first 500 of our viewers to use the link below will get a 2-month free trial. Thanks to Skillshare for supporting this episode of Glitch Please. Just use that link down below. All right, you guys want to dive into some news?
Let's do it.
Do some news. All right, we got a bunch to dive into, so we're just going to get right into it. First story is Anthem is going to have matchmaking for just about everything.
That's right. That game's still being made.
Oh yeah, it's coming out. It's soon. That game comes out really soon.
Oh, really?
It's like it's either I think February or March. I think it's end of February that game comes out.
They say.
Yeah,
They
we'll
say.
see. I think it's
I
delayed again.
want a Deadpool on the board here in the office of like number of like game-breaking glitches this thing's gonna have when it comes out.
Oh, we'll
How
see.
big of a world is it supposed to be? Is it pretty open?
Not big enough.
Not big enough.
It's supposed to be really, really big. They've been doing a lot of videos with IGN, just like gameplay and whatnot of like the hub world and going out to different missions. Something I've kind of been checking out a little bit. It's starting to pique my curiosity because I'm a
I'm
big
very
Destiny
curious
fan.
about it. It's just gonna be broken. Guaranteed.
We'll see. I'm hopeful because for this, they've announced like matchmaking is going to be in everything. This comes from Ryan Gilliam at Polygon. Anthem is saying that there will be matchmaking for every activity in the game. This has been a bit of a contentious subject because something like in Destiny, there's not matchmaking for a lot of in-game activities.
Like what?
So for instance, there are.
Oh, you mean like the random world events and that kind of thing?
There's like the random world events doesn't have matchmaking, but there's also a lot of their in-game content lately and in DLC has been like horde mode activities. One of the big things was their Mars DLC. You had to go out into the open world, activate the activity, and you'd like go through these different like tiers of defeating enemies. But there's no way to get people together unless they're in the
I
random
know what
world
you're
or
talking
they're
about
in
with
the
those
fire
ones.
team.
Because the raids you do matchmaking.
There's guided teams, which is I think a little bit different. It's more in beta. I've actually never used that. I've been playing Destiny since launch. For me, it's usually like I have to get my friends together.
Yeah.
And
I always did that too.
People will jump into the guided beta, and it's always iffy on if they're going to stick with you or not, or if they're just going to drop out. But it seems like Anthem's trying to circumvent that, and like they're saying, it's going to be on by default, but it can be opted out at any time. So if you want to be a solo player, you can play it solo, but they recommend that you play with a party because that's usually what the design is made for in that kind of game.
Sucks if you're a loner.
Yeah. But yeah.
Get friends to play Anthem.
I think it's cool that they're supporting the game. I think it's cool that they're trying to get these early functionality. What would seem basic to a lot of people, into the game. But lately, I feel like things like Destiny have just not done that.
Is there going to be a story to this game? Because it seemed like last time I checked in with this game, it was like, it's not really much of a story.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, they were like, back at like, I don't even remember like E3, they were super vague about everything. And so I'm wondering if this is going to be very similar to Destiny, where it'll have like this sort of like loose.
You got to go online and read the cards or whatever to get the lore and the story.
Which is fine. Like Overwatch is a great example of a game that doesn't have actual, like, it's just an FPS that has lore in there, and it still is very interesting. But Destiny's like the other side of it, like when Destiny 1 came out, where it was like, this is a really weird story and not really well done. So I'm curious if Anthem will have that. And not that it needs to, just wondering what they'll do.
I think they'll have more of a story than at least Destiny launched with.
We'll see.
From what I can tell so far, it's humanity's like on the brink of extinction or something, and there are giant monsters, and you have an Iron Man suit of like 5 different varieties, including the Hulkbuster, and you go and punch monsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Sweet.
I'm gonna get it, probably, maybe, I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next story. Next story is Epic Games is being sued again by a dancer. Or by a performer, I should say.
Who was the first one? Was it the Floss Kid or was it,
It was
Fresh Prince?
Fresh Prince, man.
What's his name?
Alfonso Ribeiro. Ribeiro?
So he was the first one. He opened the floodgates, and now everyone's realizing they could do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's Epic? Which one are they suing for?
So Epic, kind of started with Alfonso and Backpack Kid, who did the floss dance.
Yeah.
And now joining that growing list of viral performers is the mother of Fortnite fan Orange Shirt Kid is suing Epic Games for the use of his grooves.
Oh, he's the kid that did that?
Yes. This one's a little bit different, though. It's a little interesting because he submitted this as a submission for a game, or for like a contest they were doing called the Boogie Down Contest.
For Fortnite?
For Fortnite, for where fans could submit these, like dance moves, and then Fortnite or Epic Games would decide which one gets put into the game.
So how do you sue for that?
Is there not like a clause or something that says you can't sue us if we actually, declare you a winner?
Here's the thing: he wasn't declared the winner.
Okay.
What happened was...
but they got to still be able to be keepsies with it.
I think so. A massive player submitted dance moves to be included in the game, and while he didn't win, a Change.org petition that hit almost 15,000 signatures launched his dance into the spotlight and garnered the attention of Epic Games enough to have them add it to the game. The lawsuit makes no mention of the Boogie Down contest or any of his viral tweets, which have now been deleted, but notes that the child is the victim of extreme cyberbullying, forcing him to deactivate his Instagram and YouTube accounts. And something to note, Forza Horizon 4 also quietly removed the Carlton and Floss emotes from their game. I think yesterday or 2 days ago.
This just speaks to like if you're going to procure something from another creator, contact them and just like because that kid, I guarantee you if they had just gotten to that kid and been like, hey, here's $500. Can we have your? We want to use your dance. We're going to put it in, and we'd like to give you a prize. The kid would have probably been like, "Yeah," and
$500.
They would have not dealt with this. Even giving him like $1,000.
Well, the thing is, the kid was super excited.
That's what I'm saying. But by doing that, then you can get them to sign a
rights
release.
Yeah.
And then you're good. You're good. I mean, it's just like it's on a very small degree. We do the same thing anytime we ever use like fan art for anything. Like on merch and that kind of thing, we contact them and get them to sign a release. We pay them like an artist should be paid, and then it's done. So there's no problem with this.
I wonder how much of this is like. I mean, it's definitely the mom, that's like, oh, we can probably make some money off of this.
That's definitely the mom.
I wonder how the kid feels about it though, because I'm sure
if he's being bullied, I'm sure he
probably more so
doesn't
upset about the
appreciate
bullying.
it.
Yeah.
I mean,
bullying is way more of a problem in your kid than lack of money.
Yes. This sounds like an underdog story, like in an inspirational sports movie or something. If you then continued the story and then that underdog hero then became the villain. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how this reads a little bit.
So he's syndrome.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is going to play out specifically with this. I think Epic Games kind of has they can stand alone.
They
on
can
this
probably
and
fight that
get away
one.
with it. We'll see.
I'm wondering where the cyberbullying comes from. I mean, I know kids.
Because the internet sucks.
They'll just make fun of people for anything.
Yeah.
I know.
The internet's terrible.
But here's the problem: even if they win this lawsuit, the bullying's not going to go away. It's
Never
not like
read
Epic
comments.
Games
Never ever read comments of anything. Just don't.
That's usually #1 rule of the internet.
Yeah, it's bad.
But still, I mean, Fortnite is like that kid's generation's Pokémon or whatever.
Right, and they're
have.
just terrible, terrible children playing that game that are just mean. So if those terrible children are playing that game and are mean, they're going to go onto the social media and just continue to be terrible, terrible children.
And we've seen it happen other times with like, viral kids that go viral.
Yeah.
And then the bullies kind of descend on them with how the internet is. But yeah.
Don't ever read comments on anything.
All right.
Ever.
Moral of the story.
Yeah.
Well. All right. Well, this next story, I think you're especially going to be really excited, Nick.
I'm going to be more excited.
Really?
Just
All right.
out
Love a
of
contest.
Spite?
Spite.
Well,
That's what fuels half of my decisions in life.
Nintendo Online has had some data mining done to it. And
I did it.
Apparently, there are some Super Nintendo games coming down the line.
No,
Yeah.
not old games on a new console.
Well, hey, Nintendo's been horrible with their emulators being added to
They
like, new
have
consoles.
been, man. It's frustrating.
And I would be so excited to see the Super Nintendo games come to this.
I would too, especially because I never owned a Super Nintendo growing up. So that's kind of like
You're
even
a fake
all these.
Nintendo fan.
Yes, Nick, the fake
Yeah.
Nintendo fan.
I just bought a Switch.
No, that's the console to where like when Wii came out, I was really excited for a lot of reasons, but one of them being I could download Super Nintendo games. I could re-experience those. Didn't really do that so much on Wii U, but with Switch being portable, I really want to have a retro library I can take with me anywhere.
Yep.
And so the NES games they've been putting out are fine, but come on, I need a little bit more value than just some old games like that. These games, I saw the list.
It's a good list.
If it's true, it's really exciting to me because if I'm not mistaken, they have Yoshi's Island on there. And that's a game that they never ported in Wii or Wii U or anything like that before outside of like the Game Boy Advance version of it, which
genuinely fun.
yeah, which I want the Super Nintendo version of that.
Well, let's dive into the list. This comes from Cappuccino Heck, a modder that likes to focus on the Nintendo side of things. He tweeted a list of Super Nintendo games found in Nintendo Online files this weekend. The list includes Super Mario Kart, Super Soccer, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Demon's Crest, Yoshi's Island, Stunt Race FX, Kirby's Dream Course, Poppin' Twinbee,
My favorite.
Star Fox, Contra 3, Kirby Superstar, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Pilotwings, F-Zero, Star Fox 2, which in parentheses put LOL, because that was on the Super Nintendo Mini.
Yep.
And Super Punch-Out, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Super Mario All-Stars, and Breath of Fire 2. And while there haven't been any offerings for Super Nintendo games for Nintendo Online, they recently announced Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and Blaster Master are coming to that service.
Yeah, but who cares anymore when
Right.
Super Nintendo is potentially on the way?
You read that like that's one game. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and Blaster Master.
And Blaster Master.
I remember that game when Link
and
teamed up with Blaster Master is great.
Is the best game. Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting this news is breaking now because usually in January, Nintendo will have a big direct lining
Yeah.
out like, hey, here's everything in 2019 or this year that we're doing.
So excited they're gonna put Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Switch. Love that game. Love that game. Super
good?
fun to play. It's terrible.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a great game.
It's terrible. It's
You are
just-
so wrong.
It's Dark Souls before Dark Souls was Dark Souls.
That was a great arcade game.
People love Dark Souls for being Dark Souls.
I hate it.
Oh, okay.
It's hard. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is just a game that was hard just to be hard.
You just want your Yoshi's Island and your Pokemon Let's Go.
I don't care about Yoshi's Island. It's fine. I've already played it. I had a Super Nintendo.
John, you're
That is
upsetting
one
me.
heck of a starting list, though. If that's true.
That's really a really strong list.
Yeah, it
Excited about
leaves
Pilotwings? Get that Pilotwings in there?
Oh yeah, you know it.
yeah, a top game.
I played
on there.
Pilotwings.
Give me that Super Nintendo
there-
demo.
Wasn't there Pilotwings on
Game.
64?
Yeah, Pilotwings 64.
Yeah, I played that too.
That's good. But yeah,
They
like,
made Pilotwings for 3DS too, if I'm not mistaken.
How was that franchise?
I probably missed
I
that
don't
one.
know. I don't know.
Because I've played them. I played 2 of those 3.
I bet it's one of those games that sells really well in Japan or something like that, and that's why it's still going. I don't know, like Link to the Past is a great game, Yoshi's Island, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, especially
It's
They
Poppin'
got
Twinbee.
they got Mario World and All Stars in there. That excites me.
yeah, all of these are great games, and I would definitely go back, especially if they're going to be free, like all of the Nintendo games have been.
Free.
$20 a year.
I know.
I like Super Nintendo because there's an entire console that in order to make the new game for that console, they just put the word Super in front of the games. It's great. Then you know what console it was for. Hey, what console was Super Mario World on? You know?
N64.
What was Super Mario All-Stars, you know? It was just there.
Yeah.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Punch-Out.
It's good. So would you rather have them working on Super Nintendo games for the Nintendo Online service, or actually fix and implement matchmaking on the Switch?
Fix some implements, matchmaking on the Switch.
Matchmaking for like
Everything,
games.
like voice chat, every game known to man that they've put out so far.
Stop doing this and add Bluetooth to the goddamn console.
That's actually the next game. Stop doing this and add Bluetooth. It's up there with Link and Master Blaster.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think this is in your notes for it, at least not that I saw, but one thing I saw commonly reported alongside this was that there were things that kind of pointed to 2 other emulators potentially being
Yeah, I
released
saw that as well.
Sega Genesis and Sega CD.
Yeah, the Nintendo consoles.
Or is it Nintendo 64 and GameCube finally?
Nah, I'm pretty sure it's Sega CD.
You sure about that, John?
I want to play Sonic CD.
Oh, it'll be
Hey,
great.
not gonna lie, I would too.
Sonic CD on the Switch. Come on, who doesn't want to play that?
I don't think you need to port the entire emulator to Switch for that.
They're gonna start with
like they ported that game to Steam.
They're going to start with Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
You want to know where I played Sonic CD? I played it on a PC. Because it was PC ported, and I had a little controller on my old PC.
Yeah, I know, I'm excited. I'm sure the first GameCube emulator game will be Resident Evil 0 for me, and I can just relive my nightmare. But no, that'd be really cool.
Never to touch again.
Never again.
You
Unless I
would
get it
play
for
it again
free.
on Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, on Switch. My mobile nightmare. Yeah, no, it's really, really cool though. I really hope that they finally get off the ground with an emulator for the Switch playing all of these other games. It'd be great. Next story, Epic Games Store now has a refund policy to match Steam's. Coming from Owen S. Good at Polygon, Epic Games has updated its refund policy and now is the exact same as Steam's. No question asked refunds within 2 weeks of purchase or less than 2 hours played. They are working on tools to allow players to fill out a form for filing and receiving funds, as opposed to their current method, which involves opening up a ticket with Epic Games support. A tipic. That's what they're going to call their version of it. Sergey Galyokhin, I'm going to assume I got that correct. He's the director of publishing strategy for Epic Games. Also reported a feature they are working on to include user reviews with a solution against review bombing. They're kind of vague about that. This coming right on the heels of the Better Business Bureau giving them an F rating for complaints involving unauthorized or improper charges and poor response to customers resolving their accounts.
That's pretty bad.
How do you feel about it?
That's pretty bad. The rest I don't care about, but it's pretty funny to hear that they got an F rating on complaints.
Well, I mean, it might be something.
You're a brand new service that is competing with the king of this service, so you need to be on your best behavior and outdoing them everywhere. And they get an F on the part of their company that interacts with upset customers.
I think they had something like 250 unanswered tickets or something like that. It was like the stat they gave.
Not a B, not a C, an F.
It's pretty bad. But it seems like they're taking steps to try to pull together their store. Well, they're new and like they're growing so fast. Like Division 2 is going to be only on Epic Games Store. It's not going to be on Steam. They have to pull their shit together if they really, really want to succeed.
Now, if Division 2 sucks, I can get it refunded immediately.
Or maybe not if they go. It goes unanswered.
Or within 2 hours, or 2 weeks, whichever one happens first.
That'd be cool. I'm really glad to see a service like Epic Games or just something to compete against Steam.
Yeah, because Lord knows they need a competitor, or we're the ones who really need Steam to have a competitor. And so it's good to see that Epic Games is, trying to turn around the things that aren't working so well and really trying to be that competitor. So if anybody can do it, it's probably them. They seem like they're really, from what I'm hearing anyway, giving it their honest to God best try.
They're doing something.
They're doing something right.
Aiming for that
Let's hope.
Better Business Bureau.
Aiming for a D at this point.
It'd be an improvement.
Well, next story, GameStop buyout is expected to be finalized next month. This is coming from Wall Street Journal. GameStop may be looking at a buyout to help stabilize its current financial situation. Supposedly, 2 companies are trying to get a piece of that GameStop pie, Sycamore Partners and Apollo Global Management, with a rumored buyout happening by the end of February 2019, next month. GameStop had a third quarter loss of $488 million last year.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, they're not doing too well.
It's not doing too well. I honestly don't know how, I do, but I don't know how GameStop is still in business. They rely a lot on hardware sales, but I mean, I know that the internet infrastructure across America isn't great, but I've moved all digital and I haven't had to walk into a GameStop or do a midnight release in 3 or 4 years now.
It's like whenever I'm looking at like a strip mall and I see like a shoe repair shop, I'm like, how do you stay in business?
Then you look over and there's a GameStop.
How are you paying for your rent?
Who's that attached to shoes?
Yeah. So
specific shoes.
Yeah. I don't know.
If you're that attached to them, why are you wearing them?
It's brick and mortar game stores. It's done. It's done. Sorry. It's done.
I definitely think going, just into the future, they're going to be going away.
I don't even know how Barnes & Noble's still around. Like, they're still big old honking stores.
Their competitor, like Borders, closed.
Yeah, Borders is gone.
And now it's just Barnes & Noble, and GameStop is kind of the only non-mom and pop game store.
In a world where Sears is closing, what does GameStop hope for?
If something like GameStop closed and then digital like marketplaces could manipulate and lower their prices. They already do with deals that you can just sit in your living room and like purchase. But if it's something like, hey, here's a digital game that we don't have to ship and put on a disc and send out to, across America or across the world, you can just buy this online. Maybe you can get it for $50
Yeah,
instead
but
of $60.
even if GameStop goes away, games are still sold in Best Buys and in Targets and in Walmarts.
And those stores don't need to rely on just games to survive.
That's the saying though, is that the physical copy will stay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot
infinitum.
Walmart was a thing.
Walmart. It's got a good cereal section.
All right, well, next story.
You know.
Red Dead Redemption 2's Pinkerton agents are at the center of a lawsuit. This comes from Audie Robertson at The Verge. Security company Pinkerton has demanded royalties for using its name in the game Red Dead Redemption 2. Pinkerton sent Take-Two Interactive a cease and desist letter over the characters of Andrew Milton and Edgar Ross, a pair of Pinkerton agents and major antagonists in the game. Now, Take-Two is suing to have the characters declared fair use, arguing that they are part of Red Dead Redemption 2's detailed historical setting. Pinkerton argues that Rockstar is trading on the goodwill associated with the company's trademarks, creating false impressions that the game is connected to Pinkerton. Take-Two defends itself, saying that Pinkerton agents appear in plenty of other series, including the TV show Deadwood, 1980s film The Long Riders, and 2010 game BioShock Infinite, which didn't have this issue. Red Dead 2, of course, sold 17 million copies within 2 weeks of release, which is probably the glaring reason for the lawsuit. Getting a word in, Take-Two declared historical fiction, television, movies, plays, books, and games would suffer greatly if trademark claims like Pinkerton's could even possibly succeed. Pinkerton cannot use trademark law to own the past.
I don't think Pinkerton's winning this one.
I don't think so either.
No, they're not. They're not. This is dumb use of time and energy and finances.
I feel like they saw this and they're like, well, if Carlton can sue Epic Games, so surely we can take some of that.
That's what they saw. They saw it was like, oh man, they made a lot of money off of those cowboy boys, and so we'd like some of that cowboy money. So, money, please.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
And they're being stupid.
Take-Two's going to say no.
They're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, I feel like we see this with games. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but anytime someone is like, oh, can I get a little bit of this game that made a lot of money?
Yeah.
Like, here's a loose connection. That
Like
maybe you can
Lindsay
claim.
Lohan and GTA 5.
Yeah, although I thought, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But
Did Ellen Page ever win her lawsuit?
I don't know. What was her lawsuit?
They used her character and basically, what was that one game? Was it Last of Us that she sued, or was it another game?
I'm going to look it up.
It was a...
Ellen Page lawsuit.
Ellen Page's Naughty Dog ripped off her likeness for The Last of Us.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know what came of that, but yeah, we'll see. All right, next news story. Bungie and Activision have split. Hitting late last week and reported just about in every gaming news outlet in existence, Bungie and Activision have split reportedly amicably. Some backstory, back in 2010, Bungie sold its Halo rights to Microsoft and shifted its focus to Destiny under the umbrella of Activision as publisher. This was to be a 10-year partnership, but the developer has clarified that the 10-year roadmap was never concrete. Looking ahead, we're excited to announce plans for Activision to transfer publishing rights for Destiny to Bungie. With our remarkable Destiny community, we are ready to publish on our own, while Activision will increase their focus on owned IP projects, Bungie said. The planned transition process is already underway in its early stages, with Bungie and Activision both committed to making sure the handoff is as seamless as possible. Jason Schreier over at Kotaku had some really interesting input on this, tweeting out soon after the news broke. This has been coming for years. Activision and Bungie have had a rocky relationship since before Destiny 1 even shipped. It's also incredible news for those of us who love Destiny and want to see it thrive. At today's meeting announcing the news, Bungie staff cheered loudly. Can't overemphasize how happy they are not to just get away from Activision, but have a game that they now completely own. Imagine a Destiny free from Activision's restrictive, annualized schedule. Of course, we saw that Activision wasn't too happy with how Destiny performed when Forsaken released and just the numbers there. But what do you guys think?
Well, good news for the staff at Bungie, I guess. They seem to be really happy about it. I'm just wondering who's going to try to acquire them next, because I have to think probably Microsoft and Sony are both, somebody over in both companies is kind of eyeing them, wondering if there's a deal that can be made there.
I've heard rumors from both. But they've just been rumors. It's, I don't know, if Sony bought Bungie and they became a Sony exclusive thing, I think their fans would riot. I think Bungie fans would be really, really upset. Microsoft, I could possibly see it because they've purchased other studios and then been like, hey, we're still going to allow this on other platforms, you know, things like Minecraft.
Minecraft, exactly.
And then,
of course, it's Microsoft, so having games on PC is a no-brainer.
Sure.
So,
yeah. I think it's really good. I'll be interested to see what this means down the line on how much Activision supported Bungie and what this is going to mean going forward, whether it's going to be a drought in content while they're trying to shuffle things around, or if they'll be able to kind of just keep it going and just kind of slowly, steadily funnel stuff into Destiny 2 and maybe steer away from some of like the Eververse transactions and kind of go from there.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be good. And then last story, which I assume you might have a lot to say about.
Sure.
EA has canceled the open world Star Wars game and apparently replaced it with a smaller scale project. The open world Star Wars game, once worked on by Visceral Games until their shutdown and then shifted to EA Vancouver in 2017, has reportedly been canceled. This comes from Jason Schreier once again over at Kotaku. According to several people familiar with the project, it was codenamed Orca. The game was in very early development stages, but involved playing as a scoundrel or bounty hunter who could explore various open world planets and work with different factions across the Star Wars universe. EA's top decision makers looked at their roadmap and decided that a smaller scale Star Wars project aimed for late 2020 would perform better. Jason further says, and I'm paraphrasing here, go check out his article on Kotaku, to EA's credit, the publisher did not lay off anyone as part of this transition. At a time of cost cutting across the industry from major publishers like EA and Activision, some of the studio hope that the project might be restarted after this new project is finished.
Besides the 2 Battlefront games, has there been any significant Star Wars game released under EA?
Absolutely not. There's apparently
There's been more
Respawn.
games canceled than released at this point.
Yeah, they've had this license since 2013, I think, and
In
we
5
haven't seen a
years,
good Star Wars
in half
game.
a decade, you can't put out more than 2 games?
just one that isn't like a loot box filled battle
exactly.
extravaganza.
I should say a game that is actually received very positively by fans, as a Star Wars game should be.
Yeah, I know. Respawn, the Los Angeles-based studio responsible for Titanfall, is making a Star Wars game called Jedi Fallen Order, and that's scheduled for fall 2019. We'll see how that goes.
Okay. So, I mean, it's a little late in the game, hopefully, to cancel that one, but...
Yeah, we'll see.
what
I
else
don't
is
think
in
it
the
will be,
works?
but it's just that and this supposedly like smaller scale project that will launch in 2020, and then maybe we see this open world game launch back up. It sounds cool. It sounds like a really, really awesome game.
Yeah, it's
sounds
probably like
ambitious.
I think we're like in an era right now where it simultaneously rocks and sucks to be a hardcore Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I don't ride on Star Wars as like my main franchise that I love or like my number one thing I look for in the year. So it doesn't hurt me as much when stuff like this happens or when something like gets canceled or it comes out as not as good as people hoped.
Sounds like you've tempered your expectations as a Star Wars fan.
Oh, with EA alone, you temper. It's almost like I've resigned myself. Like as long as EA owns the rights, we just won't get a good Star Wars game. You just like come to that like the stages of acceptance. I'm all the way there of like, no, just not going to get one, and so we'll just focus on other good games. Just like I've accepted that we will not be getting a good like Marvel game ever. That's like a big old, like other than, what was the one that was like that third person perspective one that had like a million characters?
Ultimate Alliance?
That was fun.
Got a new one of those coming out on Switch.
That was fun. That's a fun game. But like, there's not going to be like a good X-Men game. It's not going to be a good like.
You don't know that, John. One day, I believe.
Avengers game or something like that.
A lot of rumors flying around.
But then when it happens, I'll be so wonderfully surprised. And so when a good Star Wars game comes out, because I used to play a ton of Star Wars games. There was like an era where like LucasArts was just releasing like amazing Star Wars.
The old Battlefront.
Old Battlefront and the Jedi
so
Knight
good.
games and that kind of thing. They were great. Played those like crazy. And then it just stopped.
Yeah.
So like I've played both Battlefronts. They're both like fine.
The new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The new ones.
that was kind of my reaction to it. Like, I got
They're
the first one
fine.
for free, and I was like, yeah.
If I'm being like
okay.
brutally honest, they're kind of boring. Especially after like playing them through a few times. Like there's just not a lot that draws me to them, and so EA is just trash with the Star Wars. Like even the people who like Andy, who's one of our biggest Star Wars nerds here at the office. He himself like just if he found a genie's lamp, his first wish before curing the world of like hunger would be to remove the Star Wars rights from EA. Like that's all he would do. And so
he may not have to do that, because how long was this EA Disney deal supposed to last?
I don't know.
Because if I'm Disney at this point, I'm looking at another thing getting canceled, and I'm probably wondering if it's worth letting them continue holding that license. Like, at what point do you revoke it and just be like, here, somebody else, have this?
I mean, Disney with their Star Wars rights across the board are really trying to reassess things with like the throttling of release schedules for the movies and that kind of thing. I think they have extended themselves and over expected how much they could cash in on the Star Wars IP at the certain rate that they're doing it. And that's not even the case with the games where like they're not doing it too much. They just haven't been able to figure out like how to make a good Star Wars game with whoever owns the rights right now. EA's just not delivering it. And I just don't know if Disney has a clear plan on how to fix any of that.
Just have to find a good publisher that they can throw.
Sure.
Figured out. I know. So I looked up some of these stats. Change.org had a petition. Yeah, Devolver Digital.
Of course they chime in.
Like, hey,
of course they
give
would.
us a shot, Star Wars.
I say just finish the original Battlefront 3. It was almost finished. It looked incredible, short of like, you know, the early performance issues and stuff like that you could probably just iron out.
Yeah, I know.
That's the game I want to play.
There was a Change.org petition from 6 months ago that closed at 215,000 signatures for just please get this license out of EA's hands. And then rumor has had it over kind of the last year that Disney is not happy with how EA has handled the
They
license.
can't be.
And they're
Who
going
would can't be?
They might just take it soon and give it to someone else. I don't know what that would take on the back
You
end.
got two finished games and then one that is supposed to come out later this year, but hey, anything can happen. Anything can get canceled.
And just rolling cancellations for every other game that they've announced since then. It sucks to hear. I'm kind of like you. I'm not super torn up about it. It would have been nice to have a Star Wars game coming out soon.
Yeah.
But man, I would love to have an open world Star Wars game.
Yeah, I would, especially considering Battlefront is just a fast-paced first-person shooter that's like almost horde mode style, which is a game style I don't really enjoy and I'm not really good at, and so it doesn't have a lot of replay value for me, and I'm sure there's a lot of people it doesn't have replay value for. A lot of people like it. I will totally say that. My opinion is definitely not the norm. There's a lot of people who do like it, but. Yeah, give me something that's more like a single-player narrative or even an open-world kind of game or something like that. Something that is more like living in the world of Star Wars as opposed to just random, fast-paced, quick, like little matches in a first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
Like, you've got this entire world and all this narrative content and characters. Like, what if we use them, you know?
No, that's unheard of, John. It can't happen.
Man, while we're talking about canceled games, really quick, if you're watching this, then by the time you're seeing this, top 10 games you'll never get to play just came out on Rooster Teeth.
Ooh.
And there may or may not be some Star Wars on it.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I've seen a lot of articles lately about just games that were announced and just kind of like just disappeared into existence, like Thanos snapped out of here.
Games are special like that. I can't think of very much media that's very much like that. As consistently like doing that as games do. Obviously, there's movies that get announced and then just stay in pre-production the entire time.
But it seems like once a movie kind of gets going, you can't stop it very
It's
easily.
also a smaller
rare
machine than I think games.
A game. There's so much that goes into making a game that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into making a movie.
I don't know. Is a game you think a smaller machine than a movie?
I think it depends.
Depends on the movie.
Yeah,
also
probably.
Yeah.
And the game.
Well, yeah, one dude made Stardew Valley, but I'm sure everyone working on Battlefront was a ton of people and over a lot of time.
Whole office. So we were definitely hitting the ground running 2019 with news, but that's all I got.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning into Glitch. Please stick around for the post show, New Game Plus. We'll see you next time.
Later.